Y'all, I'm deep in meditation and I just had a revelation. Okay, I am realizing that not enough attention was paid to this other dimension when I was growing up. I knew it existed. I astral projected once or twice. I had paranormal experiences, and there were no adults that I could process it with. Even even now, I just realized I haven't talked about it with a lot of people at all. Um, it just doesn't come up in casual conversation. And I think there's probably like this design in our human system, in the corporate world and whatnot, to suppress that connection. Um, I had this experience, for example, when my younger brother was drowning in our pool, where I was like in the yard next to the pool, not in the pool area, and I got the message that he needed me. And I just kind of like felt swallowed up by this other dimension in two ways. There were like two dimensions, duality going on. One was I could see the spirit world, and the other one was I was so overwhelmed because I didn't have a lot of experience, because we hadn't been paying attention to that other world existing, as a family, as a community, as a school. Like there was no conversation about how to travel in that dimension. It was just all my own intuition, and without guidance, it was really scary. So I got stuck in a fear dimension. I remember this very heavy feeling fear dimension. It's like molasses, like just like deer in headlights, like, oh my God, what do I do? I've been given this vision, but I can't talk. I couldn't use my voice. And that was probably due to past trauma, but that's another story. So I was overwhelmed with fear, and I was connected with the spirit dimension as well. So I was somehow, I don't know if it was me running over there and pointing, but somehow one of the adults who I think was drinking on the side of the pool, um, some family friends saw him, jumped in, and got him out. And I was just like, okay, what was that? I never processed it with anyone. I'm doing my matrix therapy. That's why it came up today. Really good time to do matrix therapy, by the way. Never processed it with anyone. Finally processing it with the divine through this matrix therapy. And I'm realizing we don't talk about this dimension in this world. We don't pay attention to these kind of experiences enough. We don't process it with our children. We don't process it with our neighbors. I mean, sometimes when someone passes away, we say, okay, they're still somewhere. Like that's like the only kind of socially acceptable time to talk about these things, like birth and death. Like there's obviously another dimension, right? So then I had this thought that there are certain gateways to this dimension, and I think it's perfectly poetically ironic that cannabis is called a gateway. Forget about the rest of it, DRUG. Not only cannabis, but even just honestly, eating raw broccoli for me opens up my heart so much and allows me to see multi-dimensional harmony and feel that. But let's say there's a key that gives us access to this other dimension. And let's say it is cannabis on some level. Let's say cannabis is a key to the gateway to this spirit connection dimension, to get us out of the fear dimension. And what if it's not cannabis that's the issue with people, it's this other dimension and being allowed into the other dimension? What if this other dimension is what's being threatened? You know how people are always like, okay, the earth is going to die, right? Even I say, like, I don't know if this planet can exist unless we start growing hemp everywhere, because we have to start, sequestering this carbon, yada, yada, yada. But what if the real threat is not planet Earth, but the spirit dimension? What if this dimension is, like so many other dimensions, is dependent on our belief in it? And what if threatening someone's access to this dimension by not talking about it, by not being aware of it, is threatened? The existence of this dimension is threatened through our collective neglect of it. What if we neglect it enough that it disappears? If enough of us don't believe it exists, will it disappear? I think this is a really valid and revolutionary and revelatory question. We stopped talking about this dimension in socially acceptable realities, What if schizophrenia was actually some kind of access to this other dimension that was paralleled with the fear dimension, and it just kept butting heads? Psychology at its roots is defined as the study of spirit, but it has become the study of chemistry. So, my friends, I will ask it one more time. What if the spirit connection dimension is being threatened through our neglect of paying attention to all these little experiences we have in our lives that are connected to the spirit dimension, through distracting us and calling it a psychological disorder, through distracting us and putting us on psychiatric drugs, through distracting us and taking plant medicine away from us, through distracting us and getting us to be part of a machine, through distracting us and taking away true, beautiful, pure music and controlling the music and saying, this is good music. Oof, 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 oof. We, as a collective society, have stopped paying attention on the regular to this spirit dimension connection that we have as individuals. And instead, we are entertaining the fear, the lack dimension, instead of entertaining the spirit, abundant love connection. So, my friends, let's start paying attention to it, because its existence is being threatened through our neglect. Just like anything you pay attention to, anything you nurture grows. Anything you don't pay attention to dies. What if cannabis gave us access to this dimension on some level? What if our key to the gates have been taken away from us? What if someone took away our house key and we couldn't come home anymore? What's going on in this reality? Where is the key of you? Only you know. Okay, I gotta end this video and I don't know how, so I'm just gonna say I love life. I love life as you love life. I honor your deepest creation in this life, and I encourage you to love yourself and be yourself for the highest good. You deserve attention, and the spirit connection dimension deserves your attention.